y'all, my name is Dakota. I am a teacher here in Texas and welcome back. I also feel like I should welcome myself back because it has been a couple of years since I posted or uploaded a video. So we are all gonna be semi-new here, but there's a lot for us to catch up on, but I'll save that for another video later on down the road. I am setting up my classroom for year 2 in the same room. I am teaching 5th grade reading along with a few other things, but again, we'll talk about all those details down the road. I'm actually editing the video right now and realized I had no introduction to the video. So here it is. Come along with me as I am setting up for the 25-26 school year. This is going to be part 1 of maybe another 2 or 3 parts to come. Like I said, have been in that room for 1 year already. I'm starting year 2. So I'm not starting from like the very beginning. You'll see that some things are already decorated and all of that because it's left over from last year. I'm not doing a full overhaul of the classroom, but I am changing up quite a bit and I wanted to bring you guys along. So here we go. So today my only main goal is to figure out the layout. First things first, I'm going to move this cabinet. It was right here in this corner and I am just flip-flopping it. I am moving it to this corner and I'm taking this filing cabinet and I am moving it back there. Last year I had like the orientation of my room was this way. So like this was the back of my room. You can see the door is there and we faced this way. I'm gonna try and change the orientation of my room, which the view is kind of blocked right now, but I'm gonna try and change the orientation of my room this way. So I'm gonna flip-flop those two things, and then we have a Promethean board, but it's on like the rolling cart thing, so it takes up a lot of room. Also, I have the desks that have like the chair and desk connected with the basket underneath. So my very rectangular room, as you can kind of see, the length of the room is a lot longer than the width of the room. I'm going to try and turn my room this way. If it doesn't work because of the Promethean board and just the size of the desks, then I'm going to have to keep it this way. But either way, this and this are swapping. So back in this front corner, I do really like the desks facing this way. I like the idea of this being like the front focal point of the room. However, last year when the desks were facing this way, my little teacher table was behind everybody and that was so nice. That was so nice. Instead of me having a stationary table, just having that desk and not having an actual desk that takes up space. I'm very thoughtful of that. What I would do is have a little stool up here, which I have plenty of stools, I wouldn't have to buy anything, but I would just have a little stool up here. That way if I'm teaching and I want my materials up here, I can just have it here, and then I could have a little sit in the front of the room if I want to. And then I have more stools. Here's, an example. And then I could just have a stool back here or maybe over here in this back corner. And I could, whenever they're working independently and I don't need to be like in the front of the room, I could be over here with another chair or another stool and be here out of the way, like while they're working. Or my permanent place could be up there. Because I also don't mind walking around the room. You're oftentimes helping kids, doing all the things. But those are just thoughts that are running through my head. I did really love my teacher table being at the back here, and then I could see everything going this way. I could see which way their heads were turned. I could see what their screens were on, all of the things. But that little rolling, raising, lowering teacher desk might be a solution because I do really kind of like that idea. And then I don't have something like this that's just taking up space. Because back here, it does look very open, but it looks way bigger on camera. Oh yeah, zoom in. So I would say there's actually maybe like 4 or 5 feet from the back of the desk to the wall. So there's not really room for me to put a desk here and then sit here. I mean, there is. If I put that little table back here, there is room for that. But if you'll look over here, I have, oh, I almost knocked that off. I have this. It's one of those little calyx things. Sorry for the spin. It's essentially one of these, but it's just one row across. So it's like the little bench one from IKEA. And so I normally, or last year, I had that going across here. If I put my little teacher desk right here and then a chair, there's not room for that to be accessible. And it doesn't really make sense for me to sit back here when all of my stuff is over there. And these are in, you can see it. They're in just like a little cove, and it makes no sense to take them out and take up valuable like room square footage. They fit perfectly back there up against that wall, and so they're just not moving. There is room. I could put my table back right here and just have this space as mine, but I don't want to be on the side of them. I would never be sitting there anyways. If I do put my table there, I will never sit there. Okay. Someone called. I kind of forgot where I was at, but I am going to leave my desks this way. I'm not going to change them, even though ultimately I know it does work if they do face this way. So if I need to, I can turn them around and keep this as like the front of the room. However, I'm going to keep them facing this way, try working my plan, and I'm going to like get some of this stuff organized. Instead of having this be like my library nook, I think this is going to be like my little teacher nook. If I do the little rolling desk thing that I have in mind, you know what I'm talking about, the one from TikTok or Instagram that's all over everywhere and everybody wants you to buy it. If I buy one of those, this will be where I come and like when I'm not teaching and the kids are working, you know, I'll be here. Hey y'all, I'm back in my room. This morning we had cheer practice, so I'm literally just here to show you what the end of day one looked like yesterday. I was here really just for a couple of hours in the afternoon, but a coworker showed up, so we obviously started talking, and I was moving a few things while she was in here, but I'm just gonna really show you where I left off, and then I probably won't be back for a couple of days to do day two. So really I'm just popping in to show you what the end of day one setup kind of looked like. So one last view from this angle. Biggest thing I did yesterday, like I said, was moving furniture. Got the desks laid out, with the exception I still need to scoot them over a little bit, but I'll get there. And then making this the front of the room. I really like it this way. Swapped filing cabinet for the big black cabinet. Got those reversed. I like that as well. The next thing I started doing was clearing this off. I think I mentioned yesterday I want to see if anybody in the younger grades wants this. If not, storage or something. I don't want to like throw it away, but it's just not a good fit for 5th grade. And I still have a few crate seats that I need to figure out what to do with, but for the most part, we are all cleared off. This right here is like all of my things. I don't know that I'll keep all of them here, but like the fridge and the 10-drawer cart and the 3-tiered rolling cart, like all of those are teacher things. So I'm thinking of using this as a little teacher corner. Last year it was like a little library corner, and I just think this space is more valuable now that I have the desks facing the opposite direction. So I took the bookshelves and I put them on the opposite side of this little cube shelf. The cube shelf holds extra supplies of, like, here's one. It has tons of extra markers, things that I've just accumulated from purchasing and things like that over the years. It's the top of it as like my student center. So I'll have the sharpener and this little 3-drawer thing over there with erasers and scissors and like things that students need access to quickly, easily, and my turn-in bin, all that stuff goes there. The 2 things on the end are going to hold all of my books. Just need to get those put on there. Last year and all of the years that I've had a classroom library, it's been organized in these bins, but at the end of the school year last year, I had some precious students help me. They labeled them all with like the AR points, and they were labeled with stickers for the author's last name. So they're just going to be put alphabetically on the shelves, and then I can get rid of all of these bins. Bins are not a bad system. However, I do have like the little mini crates, and they have these little things that poke into each other, and when students try to pull one out, it ends up pulling all three, and it was just a mess, and I'm tired of them, to be honest. I've had them since like 2018, 2019, so I'm ready for a change, and I think this is going to be great. Another positive that I think I'm really going to like is having the library a little bit more spread out rather than like squishing it all into a corner and really only one student being able to like look for a book at a time. Having them spread out where a couple of students can be looking for a book at the same time and not be in each other's way and not be all on top of each other. I think I'm going to like that. These two things, I'm still sort of deciding where I want them. Yesterday, I was contemplating putting them in between. So having like the cube shelf, and then on the outside, the Sterilite drawers, and then on the outside, the bookshelves. But I don't like the look of that. I like the look of these just being together. So I'm thinking I may put these, sorry for the spin, right over here. I think I'm just gonna put one on either side of the stage. Those materials, some of the things the kids can have access to, or they're allowed to replace, like highlighters or glue sticks if they need a new one. But then some of the things, what else do I have in there? Oh, like tape and sticky notes, like those are just like overflow supplies. I didn't mess with anything on these shelves. However, that is one big to do because all of this is my curriculum and it needs to be out of these boxes and put on shelves. But I have to make room for that first. I think there are like 10 units and there are 2 books per kid per unit, and also some like actual books, The Chronicles of Narnia and The Adventures of Don Quixote. We have lots of books to put away and store for use throughout the year. But that is another day's problem. I'm back for day 2. I have really just like an hour up here until I have to go to work. I'm on my last week of my part-time job this summer. But I'm up here in my room, and it's actually a few weeks later than whenever I came in the first time, which is all of the footage that you just saw. But I'm going to try and finish getting all of the pieces of the furniture in the area of the room that I would like them to be in. And then I'm going to try and get my library set up, get all of the books off of the windowsill and onto the bookshelf. I'm gonna try and get those few things done. Ignore the dead bug. You can't be a teacher if you don't have dead bugs in your room after summer. But last year, these two were right on the side. I don't remember if I've said this already. If I did, remember to cut this out. But last year, these were right here on the side of this, and my library was over here in this corner. But I'm changing a few things up as far as the layout goes, and I really like the look of these all right here. So I have 2 options. One would be to put these on the outside of the bookshelves, or what I'm thinking is to put them over here on either side of the stage. It's hard to visualize with that bench shelf still on the stage, but that is essentially what I'm going for, one on either side. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these other little things down too. This right here is my student center. I'm gonna put them on here because that is where they will need to be for setup. So that windowsill was cleaned off. That stuff still needs to be set up, but it all goes there, like I said. And I got both of these on either side of the stage. To be honest, I don't like love the look, but you know, minimal options. My next thing that I really want to tackle is this area back here, but something that I know I need to keep room for or space for is a Chromebook cart, because I'm realizing right now that it's been removed from my room. Last year I had it right there, right underneath that bulletin board. But what I didn't like is that as soon as kids were coming in, it was just like a pile because everybody was stopping to grab their Chromebooks. So I know for sure I don't want it to go there. I could just put it in between these two. It looks a little busy right now, but it's pretty thick. Like it'll come out pretty far, and it would just make this little section of the whiteboard really inaccessible. So I don't love the idea of putting it anywhere in front of the whiteboard. I could put it here, but then that means students would be around all of my personal stuff, and I don't love that idea. I could put it down over here. Honestly, may be the best option. There are still a couple plugs. Fun fact, if I didn't mention already, this school was built like in the early 1900s or the late 1800s. I really don't even remember. But at some point it was like the, what do you call that? Computer lab or outlets, strips of outlets. It goes from here all the way down the wall, and it goes from here all the way down the wall. And then there's also like a half one over there, starting in the corner to like about halfway through. So outlets for me are not a problem, which is good because a lot of people in this school, outlets are a problem. I can put it wherever I would like for it to be. Like plugs aren't an issue or outlets aren't an issue, but where I would like for it to be is an issue. I'm feeling like this corner may be the best. Just have it in the back of the room. It's just rather big. This stuff students really don't get on, and get on. Obviously you don't get on a bookshelf. They don't like really get in here and mess with anything. A lot of it is stuff for me. So I'm gonna be reworking some things between here and here, and I'll just make sure that whatever is for sure on this one, because I don't think it'll be fully blocked, but I mean, that thing is probably gonna come out to like here and leave maybe a foot of space. So I'll just make sure whatever is back here is a little bit more permanent and like not necessary to get to. And it's honestly the least of my worries. It's just something that popped into my head and I know I need to keep a space for. But I'm going to set up this area behind me-ish. I'm gonna try with this small table, see if I like it back here. Aside from maybe like rearranging these things in the back, I think if I'm going to keep the table, which is seeming like more of a for sure thing rather than a hypothetical thing because of, you know, the price of those adjustable rolling desks, I'm gonna keep it here. This is how I would have it set up. This bulletin board was blank all year long. Aside from like the borders falling off, it did not look like that all year, but it was blank all year long. So I may make this one just like a cute saying, maybe about reading, maybe have like some Miss Baker stuff up there, and then, you know, little artwork or things that the kids give me through the year can be displayed up there. Next thing that I'm going to do is books, and then I'm going to get these little mini crates all put here on the stage, and I'm going to start using the stage as a rehoming or take to storage landing space for now. I'm not getting rid of these. I just need to find a place for them around the room, which is usually in any random little open spot, like one there, probably one here, just so that way I have like a spot for kids to move around and go sit if they would like. And then so everything that's on the stage, I can just like take a picture and send out to staff if they want to come by and like, if they see something in the picture they like and they want to come by and grab it, or if they want me to bring it to them. And so this is just going to be like my rehoming area. And then that will help me get those cleared off. So all of the books are on the top 2 shelves of each bookshelf. I left the bottom one blank because I think I'm going to put half the dictionaries on this side and then half of the dictionaries on this side. But that way, these 2 rows can come to this bookshelf and these 2 rows can come to this bookshelf. I just feel like having it a little bit spread out will help with the congestion of everybody coming to one spot to get a dictionary when we need it. I want to get some of, I don't have a regular size one, but I want to get some of these. This is like a jumbo one for a really big sign. I want to get some small ones. I'm pretty sure Dollar Tree has them, but even I know Hobby Lobby does. I want to get some to display a few books, but I would like to have some of those to display a couple of books across the top of the shelves, or maybe even make a display in here as well. And that could be displaying one of the chapter books, or over here I keep these are in this bookshelf. These are for kids to read. They're the picture books that 5th graders still like to read, but I don't keep them out all year long. Obviously, they're pretty seasonal, like some back to school, into fall and winter, Christmas, all the things. So next thing, really quickly, I only have less than 10 minutes left. So I'm going to put the dictionaries on the bottom shelf, half and half, and then I'm going to put those all on the stage. And just like that, it is 10:05 and I have got to get out of here. So I'm gonna flip you around, show you the current state of the room. Not really going to talk through it because you guys just heard me talk through everything. And then I'll talk to you guys a little bit about what I want to do next time I'm here. And then that'll be it for part 1. So here's a really quick pan of the room, just going around. That is just where I was talking to you from. Look, I'm a professional YouTuber. That is what you guys were standing on. Okay, anyways, this is the current state of the room. What I'm trying to do as I'm working now is this is going to be my rehoming pile. Anything on top of the stage, I want to either take home for storage, sell, or re-gift to someone else. Everything that is in the center of the room needs to find a home in this classroom. I would prefer for it to be in this classroom. I don't necessarily want to give it away. If I can't make it work, then I will store it. This is just heavy curriculum boxes that I didn't feel like moving, but this stuff needs to go back there somewhere. So once I start rearranging some of that, then those will be put up. But everything else, this right here needs to go in the cheer closet. I need to find somewhere to store those things. They're just extra bulletin board paper. One of those is like a little Christmas sign. But yeah, that is the current state of the room. I do love that the windows are a little cleaned off. Not a little, they are all the way cleaned off. Yeah. Next time, I want to rearrange these shelves that are right here, and I want to get the curriculum books stored. That way I can empty those boxes, get them out of here. The next thing that I want to do is solidify this little teacher corner. I think I mentioned that I'm unable to purchase a rolling desk right now because they're either out of stock or double, triple the price, and I'm not paying $140 for something that I saw was $40 2 weeks ago. I'm not doing it. Some of y'all may do it. I'm not doing it. So for now, that is going to be like my work station. That's going to be like my teacher area. And then another thing that I would like to do is come up with something to put on that bulletin board. I'm gonna keep it decorated the way it is, but it's been blank. And so I would like to put like a saying, something fun. I do teach 5th grade, but I also half the day am a like reading interventionist for our students with dyslexia. And I don't wanna put like something about 5th grade because I see kids all the way from like 2nd grade to 10th grade. So I have a wide range of students, so I don't want it to be like 5th grade specific. And so those are 3 things that I would like to have a plan for when I come in next time. But obviously there is a million and one things that still need to be done. But that's gonna be where I end it here. There are lots of things to do, lots of things running in my mind, but I probably won't be back for about a week. I'm finishing out working this week and I'm only able to come in the evenings, and I'm just not spending my nights up here. But next week we don't come back until Wednesday, so I won't be working, and we are off Monday and Tuesday. So I'll probably just come up here and finish Monday, Tuesday. Hopefully everybody's not here because I will end up talking a lot rather than getting things done. But I think that's what I'm gonna do, is come up Monday and Tuesday and knock everything out, and have this room fully ready to go for when students start, which is like another week away. So I still have a little bit of summer and I'm going to enjoy the little bit that's left. I think someone's coming in, so I'll see ya.